All right, we're going to continue some of our discussions we've had in prior videos about uncertainty. And I'm going to use a couple of terms in this video that will help you kind of understand the nature of types of risks that you've thought of and types of risks that you haven't thought of. And so we call these known unknowns and unknown unknowns. So maybe I just give an example. Let's say you open a restaurant in an area of your town that doesn't have any other restaurants. And so it's kind of a clear market need and it's clear opportunity. So you open, let's say, a fast food restaurant, something like this. You could think about the types of risks that you kind of know that you might face. You just don't know the nature of them. So, for example, there might be inflation in your food inputs. There might be some sort of issue with the town in permitting the location, and it takes longer to get started than you expect. There might be a funding gap for you to finance this, this delay caused by this permitting problem, for example. Or like a little bit more of an abstract concern, some other restaurateur might see this location and decide, hey, I'm going to put up a McDonald's across the street, and this would be competition for you, and all of a sudden the two of you are fighting over a market that you thought just you were going to have, right? These are sort of they're risks that may or may not happen, but you can kind of conceptualize them, you can think of them. Okay, and then if you were to imagine, let's say you opened this restaurant 2 years ago and then COVID happens, right? Now, when you open that restaurant, the idea of COVID never crossed your mind. The idea of a pandemic hitting your restaurant never crossed your mind. So that would be an unknown unknown, which, because we just had a coronavirus epidemic, right? We just had this pandemic. It is now shifted into the known unknowns. But 3 or 4 years ago, this would be one of these things that would be completely out of left field, a total black swan, and unknowable, right? Not something that you would even perceive or conceive of. And so that would be categorized as an unknown unknown. If you look in, say, the domain of healthcare, for example, whenever you roll out a new med or a new therapy, there are always going to be adverse effects. People have, problems or issues with side effects from the med, and these are known unknowns. You don't know precisely what the side effects will be, but you know that it's likely there'll be some sort of adverse effect. And so you test the market, you test the product in the marketplace, and you have, trials that you do just to detect what are the potential side effects, and then you document them, right? So an unknown unknown might be some complete result from the medicine that you never expected. And so, you never knew that this was a problem. It never even crossed your mind that this might be a risk, and yet it happens, right? Okay, so when you're doing an investment, when you're thinking about making an investment, how do you think about these categories of known or unknown unknowns? Well, the real step here is to at least realize that there are risks that are happening that you haven't thought of. This is like a meta statement that you want to make about all your investments. Something could go wrong that you hadn't thought of. Some risk is out there that is completely so unknown to you that you haven't even thought about it. And then as a result, you size all your investments a little smaller than you otherwise would, right? And this is why you diversify. This is why you own multiple stocks. And you don't put all of your money or a very large amount of your money into any one asset because of this risk of unknown unknowns. All right, so just keep this in mind. There are risks that we can think about and we can kind of deal with. And then there are risks that we have not yet thought about, or risks that have never even crossed our mind. And those risks are out there. You want to be thinking about them. And those are the unknown unknowns that cause you to be a little bit more cautious than you otherwise would be. All right? Thanks as always for watching.